Did you know that pretty much the entire history of ethics could boil down to just one single question?
Why must a man keep his word?
That's the one. It sounds so simple, but your answer changes absolutely everything. Here are the most game-changing insights from the essay Practical Wisdom that could really transform how you think and act.
And just so you know, what you're experiencing is a unique two-host AI conversation powered by Google's NotebookLM, allowing for a deeper, more dynamic analysis of this essay. We're digging into the essay on duty from Mortimer Adler's Great Ideas. Let's start with that fundamental question which Adler borrows from John Locke. Why keep a promise? Because let's be honest, sometimes it's really not convenient. And Adler lays out the world's answers in about three main categories.
The first one is, well, pretty grim. It comes from Thomas Hobbes.
For Hobbes, you keep your word because you're scared. Simple as that.
This is the old stick method, right?
Exactly. It's the fear of the Leviathan, the state. Hobbes believed humans are naturally chaotic creatures. Without a powerful government ready to punish us, promises are meaningless.
So duty isn't noble, it's just obedience.
Yeah.
You do it because you don't want to end up in jail.
It's a bleak view. But the second answer is much more internal. This is Plato and Aristotle.
Okay, so how did they see it?
They saw justice as a kind of health. If you break your word, you aren't just hurting someone else, you're fundamentally damaging your own soul. It's like drinking poison.
So keeping your word is a form of spiritual hygiene. I like that framing. Injustice as a self-inflicted wound.
Right. But then you have the third logic, which might be the most rigid of all, Immanuel Kant.
Kant is all about what he calls the moral law inside you. It's not about fear, it's not about health, it's about logic.
It's about universality. You have to act in a way that you would want everyone else to act.
So if I'm tempted to break a promise, I have to ask myself, do I want to live in a world where everyone breaks their promises?
Yeah.
Precisely. And if the answer is no, then you can't do it. But here's the real kicker with Kant. You must do your duty, even if it makes you utterly miserable.
Wow. So your personal happiness is just irrelevant to the moral equation. Completely. That's a very high bar. Speaking of high standards and reflection, this is probably a good moment to mention Mindful Moments, our YouTube channel.
Absolutely. It's a great place for AI-driven analysis, summaries, and critiques of important works. It really is designed to inspire reflection and rational thought.
If you're enjoying this conversation, you'll definitely appreciate the content over there.
So getting back to Kant, he says duty must ignore happiness. Adler points out this creates a huge internal conflict. He calls it the tragedy of duty.
You see it play out perfectly in literature, like in Antigone. She's caught between two duties that can't coexist.
The duty to her gods, to bury her brother, versus the duty to the state, to obey the king.
There's no happy ending there, and modern psychology, according to the NSA, makes it even more complicated. That's where Freud comes in.
And Freud just flipped the whole script.
He does. He suggests that what we call duty might just be our superego, not some noble moral compass, but an internalized tyrant, a kind of neurosis created by the fight between our animal desires and society's rules.
So duty isn't a calling, it's just a form of anxiety. That's depressing.
It is, but the essay doesn't leave us in that dark place. It brings in Thomas Aquinas to offer a synthesis.
And what's his take?
Aquinas argues that true happiness and duty aren't actually enemies, because they both originate from the same place, the fundamental design of human nature. They run in parallel.
So doing your duty is the actual path to fulfillment, not a barrier to it?
That's the idea. It's a much more hopeful vision. And before we wrap up, there's a huge political point here about rights.
This was the real aha moment for me in the essay.
We love to talk about our rights, but Adler argues that you cannot possibly have rights without duties. The two are inseparable.
Because if I have a right to my property,
then everyone else has a duty not to steal it.
Exactly. And it goes all the way to the top. If a ruler has no duty to the people, then the people have no rights. Only the ruler has power.
So recognizing our duty is actually what protects our freedom. It prevents tyranny. It's the bedrock of a free society. So that initial question, why keep my word, really defines how you see humanity. Are we just fearful animals, neurotic sufferers, or are we rational citizens participating in a moral universe?
Heavy questions, but so important. We hope this helps you think that through. Click the link on screen for the in-depth book, Essential Ideas. Please subscribe, share, purchase via the link, and always think rationally. And see the many genre-based book podcasts at Mindful Moments. Nourish your mind on the go.